exciting earlier.
It doesn't get any better on parade day. We'll take you right onto the street to show you the highlights of the big show. We talk to our out-of-town guests about the challenges of finding a place to stay during Stampede. Deadly fire. We'll tell you who the victim was and what caused this blaze.
CFCN News with Barb Higgins and Darrel Janz.
Good evening. Perfect weather helped thousands of volunteers pull off the perfect Stampede parade this morning. More than 250,000 people packed the streets for the big event, and they had a ball. Bill McFarland reports.
Calgary Stampede Show Band ushers in Parade 2001, heralding the arrival of this year's Parade Marshal, Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield.
You can't beat being in the parade here today. What a great place to be as a Canadian.
And you can't get more Canadian than Mounties marching in red serge coats or politicians riding in open cars. Outgoing Calgary Mayor Al Doer is a parade veteran.
This has been 12 as mayor and 18 as a member of council.
Still having a good time?
Still having a great time. You can't help but.
This parade is a visual feast. There's something for everyone. Dozens of bands accompany impressive floats, colorful natives, hundreds of horses carrying bespangled, smiling riders, and pulling crowd-pleasing, smartly buffed wagons.
The horses, that hitch, that big long thing of horses was really great.
The best part of the parade is us squirting the clowns.
For EMS and Calgary's police service, the highlight is a parade incident-free.
Absolutely no incidents that I've seen, and the crowd is just fantastic. They're cheering and hollering all day long.
New this year, an idea from Macy's Parade in New York City, inflatable floats. This 35-foot high inflatable bear needs dozens of people just to guide it down the street. This year's parade is dedicated to the people who make it happen, the volunteers.
Well, I'm having a great time because I've been doing this for 16 years in a row as a volunteer, and the people are fantastic.
And people make the parade, thousands of them giving their time to ensure this Stampede is the best ever. Bill McFarland, CFCN News.
Well, Darrel and I had a lot of fun announcing the parade again this year, but now it's time to head down to the Midway, and Darrel is there at our Media Midway with a very special guest. Darrel?
Yes, Barb, I have a very special guest, as you say, the marshal of today's parade, Colonel Chris Hadfield, Canadian astronaut. And Chris, within the space of a couple of months, you have realized two dreams, one walking in space and one riding in the Calgary Stampede Parade. I won't ask you to compare them, but in what unique way is each special?
Well, I first watched the people walk on the moon when I was a kid, and the first time I ever came to the Stampede, I came out here with my dad when I was a kid, and it was just a great experience to have a chance to put on a spacesuit and float outside of the spaceship and build the big Canadian arm onto the space station. And then today, on just as beautiful a day as anybody could hope for, to have a chance to ride through Calgary on a horse and to be greeted by, 100,000 people or something along the parade route. It was just great.
Now, you have something pretty exciting coming up for you when you go back to Houston. You're heading for a major mission.
That's right. I've been an astronaut with the Canadian Space Agency for 9 years, but my next job is going to take me to Russia, and I'm in the process right now of moving to Russia and to be director of operations over in Star City, just about an hour from Moscow for about a year. So that's what's up next.
Now, any hope of going up again at some time?
Well, I'd sure like to. There are 6 Canadian astronauts, so I'm at the back of the line right now, but I'm working my way forwards, and hopefully after a year in Russia and continued building on the space station up there right now, I'll get a chance, maybe not just to visit the space station, but to go live there as one of the Canadians who spends 4 or 5 months there at a time.
Now, you're leaving Houston at a time when you were telling me, now we all saw the horrible floods in Houston, but you put a very personal note on it for me. I understand your home was destroyed.
Well, our home was pretty badly damaged. Houston got almost a meter of rain in one night, and it damaged 30,000 houses, including our own. And since we're going away to Russia at the time, we decided it made more sense to knock it down and put a house up on a hill rather than have the same old house again. So.
Colonel Hadfield, thank you very much, and good luck in Russia.
Hey, thank you very much, Darrel. I appreciate it, and thanks to Calgary.
Barb will be back later.
That was a very interesting talk with him. Thanks, Darrel. We'll talk to you later in the show. Well, for many people, partying is the main attraction of Stampede, and the lineups at the bars started early. No sooner had the final band and float crossed the parade finish line, hot and thirsty cowpokes headed for one of the city's most popular bars. Police and security were on hand, but didn't report any problems, even though the lineup for Desperados stretched for blocks at one point. It was much the same story inside the grounds at Nashville North. And as we all know, people come from around the world to enjoy the Stampede, but with all the traffic, some have trouble finding a hotel room or a place to park their RVs. Cynthia Roebuck has that story.
They've been rolling into town for days now. People come from around the world for Stampede, and sometimes it's hard to find a place for all the RVs.
We got lucky. We were told we were lucky because there were 2 spots left, and we pulled in and stood in the long line, and luckily we got it.
Of course, it's kind of typical when anything like this goes on. It's crowded, you know, so you got to plan in advance.
There are 1,100 RV spots in the city that accommodate 5,000 bookings every Stampede. Latecomers could end up in a jam.
Yeah, it'd definitely be very tight. Right now, we'll probably get pretty much full for RV sites by about 4 this afternoon. Tenting, sometimes we still have sites at the end of the night.
And RV parks aren't the only places that are filling up in Calgary. If you came to enjoy Stampede but don't have a hotel reservation, you might have some problems.
All the hotels will generally be full by the night end with walk-in reservations, last-minute reservations, and extended stays for the guests.
Fortunately, Hesse says room turnover is pretty quick, and with about 7,500 rooms in the city, there should be enough for everyone. Cynthia Roebuck, CFCN News.
Well, we sure hope there's enough room for everyone. The weather, as we all know, has been perfect. David Spence is at Media Midway, ready to tell us what to expect for the weekend. I guess we're all hoping it's more of the same, David.
And I think it will be, too. We're seeing some cloud crossing over the city right now. It shouldn't last too long. It should thin out overnight tonight and give us another sunny day tomorrow. Sunny and if not warmer too. We hit 24 degrees today. That's our present temperature. It looks like we'll do about 27 tomorrow afternoon and even warmer as we get into Sunday and Monday. Things are looking good to start off this year's edition of the Calgary Stampede, at least as far as the weather is concerned, Barb.
Okay, thanks. And David, of course, will be back with the complete forecast later in our news. To serious news now. The man who died in a fire overnight is now identified as 56-year-old Terrence Spielman of Calgary. Another man is in critical condition. The fire spread through a basement apartment. Careless smoking is to blame. Bill Marks reports.
It was just before midnight when the call came in. Firefighters, police, and EMS crews arrived to find flames and smoke coming from the duplex. One male resident of the home, who phoned 911, alerted emergency crews that his 2 roommates were still inside the basement apartment. One man was barely alive when emergency crews found him.
Paramedics were resuscitating him when they left the scene, and we'd received word later from the hospital that he had died at the hospital.
Residents of the top floor apartment escaped without any injuries. At first light, investigators began sifting through the burned and charred apartment looking for a cause. The blaze gutted the downstairs apartment.
Investigators of the arson unit are now fairly certain that the fire was accidental, that it started in a downstairs bedroom, probably the result from a carelessly disposed of cigarette.
Detective John Dukes is an arson investigator. When crews first arrived, they found smoke detectors had been activated. The 2 victims didn't hear the warning.
What cases has arson brought in to investigate a fire?
All injury fires, and especially fires that lead to a loss of life.
The fire caused about $40,000 worth of damage. Bill Marks, CFCN News.
A forest fire is burning out of control in southeastern British Columbia. The fire is burning near White Swan Lake in the Invermere area. It covers about 150 hectares. That's the fire. 4 dozen firefighters are involved, getting help from 5 helicopters. So far, there aren't any travel or camping restrictions in the park. A 20-year-old man is in hospital in Calgary after a serious condition after a fall at a construction site this morning. He's a painter and he fell 30 feet off the roof of a building on 75th Avenue and 5th Street Southeast. He suffered head, chest, back, and leg injuries. Well, yahoo! Another Stampede is underway. We'll have our full coverage right after the break. Stay with us. Well, this is the first of 10 days of fun, rodeo, and more fun. It's time to go back down to Darrel at the Media Midway. Now, I imagine with weather like this that it's starting to get busy down there.
Oh, it has been really busy here today, Barb. And it's busy here in the new Media Midway, a beautiful facility that we have with our Bell partners, and we'll tell you more about that from time to time throughout the week. By the way, attendance last night was down a bit. That windstorm that swept through must have kept a few people from the grounds. Peake attendance was down a bit from last year. 31,610 people clicked through the turnstiles last night. That's about 9,000 less than last year. Record attendance for Peake is a whopping 89,185. That was set back in 1992. But I know that attendance today is bound to be over the 100,000 mark because it is busy here. Now, all of those people have to eat something. And as Kevin Rich reports, there are people behind the scenes who are making sure the food is cooked or cold, whichever the case may be, and prepared with public safety in mind.
Hamburgers, hot dogs on a bun or a stick, pizza, beef on a bun, French fries by the bushel. It can be a food junkie's paradise. It's Al Kettler's job to make sure what you eat at the greatest outdoor show on earth is safe.
I'm just taking the surface temperature of the beef products that are on this grill here. And it has to be 60 degrees or above.
Kettler will also use his ultraviolet temperature gauge to check freezers. If it's supposed to be refrigerated, it had better be cool to the touch when Al happens by.
Maybe throw your thermometer in there just so you can keep an eye on it. And is there bleach water in here?
Yeah. Kettler will also watch out for cross-contamination. Vegetables shouldn't be cut on a board that was just used to cut meat.
The Calgary Regional Health Authority doesn't come to Stampede looking to shut businesses down. They just want to protect public health. But if they do find a problem in a business, they can shut them down immediately, and they can confiscate any food on the premises.
We do close restaurants, we do condemn food, we ensure we physically throw it out if it's unsafe.
This year, special emphasis has been put on hand washing. With such a large gathering of people and animals, it becomes more important than ever.
A few years ago, we did have a problem with children that were not washing their hands and then eating sandwiches.
So far, inspectors haven't closed down anyone at Stampede, but they have given out a few friendly reminders. Kevin Rich, CFCN News.
One of the hottest events down on the grounds, and I mean hot, is the blacksmith competition. Sparks were flying and anvils ringing as competitors from around the world started fighting it out for the title of World Champion. The competition takes place over the weekend in the agricultural Big Top. That's that huge tent, red and white, near the grandstand. And the final round is on Monday, with the prizes being handed out at the grandstand show that night. Well, whether you're 5 or 65, the Stampede Midway Games can be hard to resist. But while you're having fun, trying your luck, it is important not to lose perspective on what you're spending to win a prize. Consumer Watch reporter Lea Williams-Doherty shows us how.
Just 50 cents. You win the big ones up here.
Who can resist the call of the barkers? Luring you in to try your luck and win the big prize.
I try to go for the sure things, ones I know that I can do good at.
But as many people like David Mark find out, sometimes it's easy to forget how much you're spending.
I got one of the great big ones for throwing darts, but you know, when I sat back and added all up, it cost me about $120 worth of playing in order to win a $40 stuffy, so I felt kind of stupid.
Even that $40 price estimate might be low, says one carnival supplier.
The small ones, probably around $2. The medium size, probably looking about $5 to $6. The larger one, probably $15 to $20.
So remember, the Midway Games are a business where the odds often aren't in your favor. So keep perspective while you play so you don't get played on the Midway.
Make sure that you have a budget and that you're going into Stampede and you decide that you're going to spend X amount on the games, you're going to spend X amount on entertainment somewhere else, and keep to that budget.
If it's important to you to win something, here's a little piece of advice. Pick out a game where they'll give you a prize every time you play. Lea Williams-Doherty, CFCN News.
Thanks, Lea. Well, big issue at Stampede every year is weather, and that's why David Spence is even more important than normal. He'll be back with weather right after our break.
Beautiful day to start off the Calgary Stampede. Lots of sunshine over the Stampede grounds. I can see that there's some cloud cover now, which kind of cools things down a little bit. Good timing, too, because we're at our warmest temperature of the day. It's 24 degrees. The wind is from the southeast at 20. In Lethbridge right now, temperature's also 24 with wind from the west-southwest at 43 kilometers per hour. We have seen some moisture coming into the region, though on the other side of the Continental Divide in southeastern British Columbia. Saw some cloud cover going through, and that's what's over Calgary now. And while this system provided some rain showers in southeastern BC, by the time it crosses the mountains, it dries right out, and we just get the cloud cover, and in behind it, it's starting to clear out as well. So through the night tonight, the sky will clear. Here's a look at some of the precipitation as it went through southeastern BC, but there's not a whole lot of it making its way into southern Alberta, though south of Lethbridge, there are some returns on the radar, but it's likely that's evaporating on the way down. With the clear sky last night, temperatures got pretty chilly. We saw some records in Sundre and in Waterton. In Waterton, it froze last night, and with the sky clearing out tonight, it could be quite cool as well, with single-digit low temperatures for Calgary. Let's take a look briefly at what's happening across the country. Warm air across the prairies, temperatures in the low 20s, 27 in Kelowna, 21 in Vancouver, got 15 at Thunder Bay, 22 is the temperature in Toronto, and as you get into the Maritimes and Newfoundland, temperatures are down toward the teens, 17, 18 degrees. Now, the forecast for us in southern Alberta is looking very warm. If you're planning to come to the Stampede grounds, be aware it could be quite hot by Monday. Tomorrow we're looking at a high temperature of 27 degrees. 28 is our forecast for Sunday. We could reach 30 on Monday. Then we're going to cool down a little bit with some more cloud coming along Tuesday, and by Wednesday there could be some showers and quite a bit cooler with a high temperature of only about 21 degrees. That's how it looks from the Stampede grounds as far as weather goes. Your sports and all the rodeo action so far coming up in a couple of minutes with Russ Peake.
Good evening. Day one of the Stampede Rodeo is in the books, and as usual, our Russ Peake is covering the full 10 days. Down at the Media Midway, and Russ, what happened on day one?
Well, it was a pretty good rodeo performance. They moved it along. Usually on opening day you got the odd little hitch, but it snapped along today, and we had a good rodeo performance highlighted by the saddle bronc event, and that's where we go. 7 of the 10 scores in this event in the 80s, none better than Ronnie Red Lemmel from Mud Butte, South Dakota. 85 points here on the Stampede's dry whiskey. You can always identify red by the red neckerchief and the red hair, if the hat comes off, of course. To the bull riding, only 3 qualified rides and 10 buck-offs. That's about the norm. Jesse Bale from Camp Cook, South Dakota. 81 points here on the veteran Stampede campaigner Gargoyle. James Morgan at a 78. Casey Bays was 71. Oddly, just a year ago, Jesse Bale also had Gargoyle and had the top score in the first day. We're shortened because of time limitations here. We'll have it all, Chuck Wagons and Stampede Rodeo at 9 tonight. Peaker's pick tonight, we go back to the saddle bronc event. I mentioned it was the highlight of the afternoon. Red Lemmel had the best mark, the 85, but right behind him, a couple of 84s. One of them belongs to Ross Kreutzer from Maple Creek, Saskatchewan. He's the Rodeo Royal Champ. He'll be in the Sunday Showdown for $50,000 in this event. 84 points on the Duke today, John Wayne. He's just coming off a win at Airdrie, and Kreutzer is 6th in the Canadian saddle bronc standing, so he's having a pretty successful year. As I say, much more tonight, Glenn, at 9 o'clock. Chuck Wagons, followed by Stampede Rodeo, all the major event winners with my buddy Dave Polson.
Absolutely, and looking forward to the Chucks as well, Russ. Night one coming up tonight, and a lot of wagons running really well right now heading into the Stampede.
Yeah, from both associations, and with this heat, it'll be a fast, dry track, so the times will come down, I'm sure.
All right, Russ, see you at 9 o'clock.
You bet.
All right. Play suspended at Wimbledon today. Tim Henman of Britain was leading Goran Ivan Isavic of Croatia when the rain fell. Patrick Rafter and Andre Agassi, they were able to get in their semifinal match, and unusual to see Jack Nicholson at tennis, but he was there this afternoon. Usually see him at the Laker games. Patrick Rafter, nice play here. Does what he does best, and a little fist pump on the point. Later on, Agassi hits the running forehand in the second game of the 5th set, and the net cord gives him a 2-0 lead, but Rafter battles back up 7-6, hits the winning backhand here. He holds serve He beats Andre Agassi 2-6, 6-3, 3-6, 6-2, 8-6. What a match. FutureLinks Golf Tour Tournament in Stony Plain. Ryan Valley of Medicine Hat held off Ryan Yip of Calgary to win the boys' championship. Adrian Winter of Red Deer wins on the girls' side. And now it's time to meet our CFCN Pizza Hut Athlete of the Week.
CFCN Athlete of the Week, brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Andrew Copold plays for the Pee Wee Hornets lacrosse team. On Wednesday night, they faced the Axemen in the city final. The Hornets fell just short, losing the series 2-1. Not the result they were hoping for, but Copold says the Hornets still had a great season.
We finished second in the Okotoks tournament, first in the Hornets, and second in the city, so can't complain.
The Hornets weren't even sure if Andrew would be able to play in the final. He had an arm injury.
He's actually been out the last week and a half with a very sprained wrist. In fact, they thought it was broken. He had a cast on, so he took his cast off only yesterday. He played last night, and he got a couple goals for us, and he got a couple goals again for us tonight, I believe 1 or 2, but very instrumental, very pivotal player on the floor.
Andrew hasn't been playing lacrosse for long. He took up the sport at summer camp.
Then I found it was a pretty neat sport, and I started playing last year, and that's when I went into the camp.
Okay, and so do you want to continue this sport? Do you look to the future? Maybe you want to play lacrosse professionally?
Oh, yeah. It's a fun sport if it's played cleanly, so.
Donovan's amazed at how good Andrew is at lacrosse after such a short time in the sport.
90% in the head and 10% in the body, and he's got them both. So he thinks out there, he finds his openings, and he takes advantages of them.
He means a lot. He scores a lot of our goals, and he helps our team out a lot. Hitting and.
Hey, Andrew, I know that's not the way you wanted to end the season, but you guys have a lot to be proud of. You got to the final, and we're giving you our CFCN Pizza Hut Athlete of the Week.
Thanks.
Take that. We'll get a plaque to you later. Good job, buddy.
Way to go. Now, we're out early tonight because we have so many things to cram in tonight to make sure that we can get you the rodeo and the chuck wagon highlights right at 9. That's why we're ending tonight at 6:30. Now, did you take in the parade today?
Watched it on TV.
Hey,
watched it on TV
great.
with the kids, and yeah, they enjoyed the parade again today.
And if you missed it, you can catch it again tomorrow at 8:30. This is running all across the network. So if you have relatives in Saskatchewan or Manitoba and you want to show off how great our parade was, give them a long-distance call tonight and say, hey, it'll be on in their area at 8:30 their time as well. It's going to be staggered across the country. Thanks for joining us. Happy Stampede. Good night.
Happy Stampede. Have a good one.
CTV, Canadian Television.